Greetings, friends. Sending everybody many positive vibes. I hope everyone's doing well out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today is Friday, June 13, 2025. It is the day that my new record, Thank You Guitar, is being released. That's why I'm here to announce the release. Very excited that everybody is here with me. Thank you, everybody, for your support, your interest in my weird sounds. It truly is an honor. And again, like the support that everybody has provided has been so wonderful. I really do appreciate you very much. So I mentioned a few days ago that I would do a video basically answering any questions that folks might have about the record, so that's why we're here. If I happen to remember anything in these questions that I don't get to here in the talk, I'll definitely put some information in the description below. Oh, and the record. How can you get the record? You can get the record directly from the record label, Palilalia. It's their website, palilalia.com, and I'll put the links below, of course. You can get it from their Bandcamp page. The record is also available from a number of record stores, either online. Please just do a Google search for my name and the title, Cyrus Pireh, Thank You Guitar, and hopefully some will come up that are close by. I'm also going to try and go check out local record stores. It may be in some local record stores. If you happen to see it there, please let me know. I would love to hear. And so yes, without further ado, we'll go into the questions. I apologize if I mispronounce anyone's name. I will do my very best. Okay, so first question is from Smog Breather 777, and they ask, is Thank You Guitar going to be the only Future Lute track on the album? Actually, this version of Thank You Guitar for the album I played on the ESQUIRE 9-string. I know I've been playing it on the Future Lute here on the channel over the past number of months. That's because when I'm going to perform it, I'll perform it on the Future Lute. That way I don't have to capo, uncapo the 9-string, and I don't have to tune and retune. But on the record, I played it on the 9-string. There is one Future Lute song on the record. That's going to be the song Infinite Shred. Oh, and that song ends the A-side of the LP with a locked groove. So this is definitely a reason, I would say definitely a reason to get the LP record so that you can experience that. That's not something that appears in the digital files. Okay, next questions are from RevRed. First question, is this your first record officially released? This is actually record number 4. The first 2 records were collaborative records. The first one was Cyrus Pireh and Honduras, and the second one, Cyrus Pireh and Alan Cordes. Those 2 records, and I beg your pardon, the third record then was the Visitor record that came out a few years ago. Those 3 records came out on the Shinkoio Artist Pool record label. And so then this record, Thank You Guitar, this is the 4th LP that I've done. Porkchop chiming in. Good to have him here on the call as well. So yes, 4th official LP, and then there have been a few official tapes and these sorts of things that have been released as well. Next question, is there anything on it you haven't posted on YouTube? Most of the songs have come from these YouTube practice sessions, but there are a couple that the version of Thank You Guitar on the record, the version of Amen Family on the record, those 2 didn't come from practice sessions. I did specific recording sessions on those off camera. And then Infinite Shred, that song hasn't appeared on YouTube, the practice sessions. And I think that's it. Everything else I think came from these practice sessions that I've been doing and posting. Next question. How much work with the label it took to get out? It took a fair bit of work. Definitely, in addition to preparing the sound files, those sound files then have to get translated. The process of making a record, basically plastic gets smashed between 2 metal plates, and that creates the grooves of the record. To translate the sound files to those metal plates, it takes a bit of work, so that had to get done. And then also all of the sort of the artwork of making sleeve, and then also the labels that go on the record. Like this is a lot of like, you know, image manipulation and editing and all this sort of thing. But you know, all this stuff was super fun. You know, it's been really great to work. You know, Palalelia is Bill Orcutt's record label. It's really great to work with Bill on this project. I feel really lucky to have gotten that chance. And so I mean, while there was a lot of work to do, it definitely didn't feel like work. Definitely felt pretty fun process, I would say. Next question: do you intend to make another one? Hopefully. You know, it's always a real privilege to get to make an LP record. I'm definitely going to keep writing songs. I mean, that's definitely part of my love affair with the instrument. So hopefully, get to keep making more LP records. Next question: do you treat it as a mashup of songs you've written, or did you actually put more thought into treating it like an album, worrying about the pacing and whatever else? Kind of both. The songs on this record mostly came out of the process of you know, this other project that I've been working on, which is the composing the book of 19 canons. So there are a number of canons. I think there's 4 that are on this record from that project. So I didn't have like a specific goal to create this particular record from the outset. It was more that, you know, as I was working on this composition project, there were songs that were composed and that definitely seemed to go together. And that led to this particular collection. As far as like the you know, worrying about the pacing, like one of my favorite things is actually to sequence the record. There were other songs that were recorded, so I selected these 10 tracks from a larger pool of recorded songs. And I mean, going through the process of like deciding the order of the record, like it can make a really big difference. What song comes in what order. It was really fun. It's one of my favorite things to do, and was particularly fun with this collection of songs. So like I said, it was a combination kind of both of these things. Not a lot of forethought, you know, not like, okay, time to make a record. And it wasn't thinking that so much. It was more like wow, like a lot of these songs kind of seem like they fit together. Maybe they can kind of work as a cohesive unit. Okay, next question. If you were to do another one, would you ever settle for a particular theme or concept album? Would you ever include, well, it's a two-parter. Let me answer that first. Sure. You know, the process I've been going through with these last couple of records, the theme and concept kind of comes after the music. So I'm definitely not against working that way. I think that, you know, there have definitely been records that the Coils on Malbec record, that was something that the concept was like first before the music. So that way of working is also cool. I'm definitely open to it. Then the second part of that question: would you ever include other instruments other than your wonderful guitars? Thank you for your kind words. Or at least the funkiest guitars you've got. Yes, you know, other instruments are great. You know, there are a few things that I have here still haven't kind of made their way into you know, into compositions. Like I have like that lap steel. It's a dual 8-string lap steel. I still want to try and figure out some ways to make some music with that. And then I have a banjo guitar and some other acoustic instruments that might be great. Drums, saxophone. There's lots of things I always enjoy messing with. May or may not find their way into other songs. Next question. How do you see yourself collaborating with other artists for another release or for other releases? And how would you go about the practicality of that? I think that the main thing that I've been trying to work on over these last few years is collaborating over the internet. I'm definitely excited to do more sharing of files with folks, you know, making music that way. But there are a couple things, you know, in the works here locally, trying to get together with other folks. I mean, my preferred way of making music is in a group. This solo guitar thing has sort of been a particular thread of, you know, of thought that I followed. My preference is to be jamming with other folks, so hopefully we can get that going. Next question: how stoked are you? Super stoked, beyond stoked. I kind of can't believe that it's happening, but here we are. And then the last question question from user RevRed is, would you ever collab with me? Most certainly, my friend. My email address is in the description below. Let's get in touch and make it happen. And that goes for other folks too. Like if you're excited to jam, I'm down for it. Let's start chatting. Next question comes from placeholder 8671, and they ask, I'd love to know about your recording process, just anything you feel is worth sharing, whether it be on the equipment side of things or your particular mindset or goals heading in. The equipment is the equipment basically that is surrounding me. I have the Thank You guitar pedal here. I have the direct box. This is Radial JDI passive direct box. I think I can get that into view, maybe just barely. There it is. And then below that, in this black box, I have it's the Radio Design Labs Stick-On Series limiter. Maybe I can pick this whole thing up. So I have it mounted in this black box. So I use all of those. I use the speaker cabinet behind me. I might use to mic the speaker cabinet with this cassette deck. All of that is fed into the camera that I use for these videos, the Zoom Q8N-4K. And I'll pull the audio right off of the video and work with that. One other piece of gear that I used on 2 songs on the record, I used this Sony cassette deck as as a tape delay. It's the Sony TC-142 3-head cassette deck that I fashioned into a tape delay. And then the guitarist that you've seen me play on the channel, the 9-string ESQUIRE, the Future Lute, the Silvertone 1448, the Bullet Telecaster, the Kawai 9-string. That's basically it from like an equipment standpoint. All of the sort of mixing, arranging I did in Audacity. As far as mindset or goals heading in, like I mentioned before, mostly in these practice sessions, mostly I'm just excited to sit down and play. I don't really have necessarily a lot of goals for the practices, mostly just to kind of rehearse a few things that I use for warm-up, a few pieces that maybe I'm trying to get ready for whatever reason. And then beyond that, just kind of explore technical things that I'm interested in. They kind of just grow and coalesce from just small technical ideas into like small riffs or fragments, and then they grow further and become phrases. Once they're phrases, then I start to think, well, I wonder what might go well with this particular phrase, and they kind of find their ways to each other. At least with these songs that I've been working on, a very organic process in that way. Sorry about that. Shout out Agad Mater, definitely my YouTube inspiration. Next question from D. Loverin. Why does ESQUIRE wear pants, or are they shorts? That's an excellent question. This is the fabric that I use to cover the bottom of the ESQUIRE 9-string, this part here. I noticed that this part was cutting into my forearm, cutting off circulation. So I knit this fabric basically to soften that edge so it didn't cut into my arm as much. And then, my fingers, without using the pants, they were getting I was noticing they were getting cold. So the fabric helps me also remember not to clamp down so hard, kind of keep things relaxed. Next question. Who or what inspired you to use nails on the electric guitar, and why did you stop using a pick? The inspiration was really the song Thank You Guitar. I started learning that song in a hybrid picking style, so I would hold the pick in my index finger and thumb, and then use my middle finger also to pluck. But at a certain point, I wasn't getting the consistency, the accuracy that I felt I could. And I made the decision to stop using the pick and go full fingerstyle, mostly because in a full fingerstyle context, like there's just so much more tactile information that you get from the guitar, from the strings, and that really helped me to improve my attack, and then that helped to improve accuracy consistency. And once I wasn't using a pick anymore, my thumb and my index finger were available, and it basically just led to all these other sorts of techniques, and that's kind of how all of that kicked off. I mean, one thing, I think I've shown this before, but the index finger I have shaped into a point, just like a guitar pick, so I can do upstrokes and downstrokes. And then my thumb, you can kind of see, it's always hard to see in the camera, there's like a small notch in the thumb here. Give me a couple different places, different spots for attack. Maybe that's the best I can get in the camera. That's how I have the nails. How do I maintain your nails? How do you maintain your nails and have they ever broken? Mostly, I have a file. I keep them trimmed to a good usable length. I also use hand moisturizer. Moisturizing is important. I also think I have good genes. Like my nails seem to be pretty strong. They definitely have broken, and that's a bummer. Not while playing. They've never broken while playing. It's always been like washing the dishes, or I like pick up a suitcase in a weird way, or just something that's just not thinking. How involved were you in the design of your guitars? If you were, who or what inspired you to go with such unique designs? I was very involved. I submitted the plans for this guitar to Fat Dog at Subway Guitars in Berkeley, California, USA. That's who built the 9th string. The Future Lute, this one the body was my first guitar, PV Predator, and I have a friend who's a luthier that I asked to build me this 9-string 10-fret neck. I was very involved. Also, like these two guitars, the necks are attached with machine screws into threaded inserts, so you can take the neck on and off without it hurting stripping the wood. I do that for travel. The particular designs just came from things that I liked in playing. Going with 9 strings, the reason for 9, I never used the high E string on like a normal 6-string guitar. I only used 5 strings. So when I got a 12-string guitar, I took the high E strings off, straight away, and then I noticed the better bass response was just the single low string. So this is how I got to 9 strings. Next question. When did you start holding your guitar the way that you do? Do you see any benefits compared to other techniques? I'm very tall. I'm 6'4", almost 2 meters tall. For a while, when I decided to kind of pursue shredding, I was playing seated in chairs. But I noticed that every chair is different, so my posture would be different. So I decided, okay, I'm very tall. Let's work with the floor. The floor is always going to be the same. I'm tall. It's not going to be too. If I'm sitting on the floor, then I'm not hulking over the audience from the stage. And then the particular posture where the guitar is across the body this way. My arm, I have long forearms, so this is a very comfortable and natural position to have my forearm in. I also looked at a lot of different other instruments where people shred or do a lot of tremolo picking. I looked at the Persian tar. I looked at the oud, balalaika. I don't think balalaika players necessarily sit on the floor, but and tar players don't necessarily either, now that I think about it. But the particular posture where the instrument is perpendicular to the floor and the forearm is in line with the strings like this, that's something that I got from these other examples. And then then the posture is very comfortable. I feel great playing, my arms, my shoulders, everything just feels really natural with my own particular body type in that posture. So that's mostly why I decided to go with that. Next question. What kind of music do you listen to, and how has that changed over time? I actually keep a listening diary. I'll put a link to that in the description below, so you can check that out. Next question. On your Bandcamp, it says that you're a self-proclaimed anarchist. How long have you held that philosophy, and what convinced you of it? Probably came to anarchism, in the early 2000s, especially after 2001. I was a participant in a movement and group that was based on anarchist principles, really 2001 through 2003, 2004. And learning to be in a movement with people decisions using consensus-based process was something that it really clicked for me. Made a lot of sense. The idea that every person is important, every person is valued, and in part of a decision-making process, like working towards the consensus with everybody, as opposed to having there be winners and losers in a voting process. I mean, this was something that at the time I was like, wow, this is so amazing. Like then everybody is invested and involved with the outcome. This seems fabulous. And I mean, I think that in comparison to at least here in this country, in USA, where we have a representative democracy, giving a certain person or class of people, the ability to make decisions for you, I don't know that that's so great. This is something that I could talk about for hours. So, I think oh, did I mention that these questions came from Slapperdoodles? Maybe I didn't. I apologize. If I didn't, these last few questions have come from user Slapperdoodles. But yes, Slapperdoodles, please, I'd be more than happy to talk further. Let's get together over email. The philosophy, I mean, is one that has definitely carried through in sort of my music making, my interest in music. The ability for everyone to work together, creating one harmony together. This is something that I think that really does come from at least my own personal anarchist principle beliefs. And it's also the reason why I'm a fan of the Argentinos Juniors. Their original name was the Martyrs of Chicago. So yeah, maybe that's a good place to leave that question. Next question is from, is it Hue Sammy? Huesamai. The question is, what tuning do you play thank you guitar in? The tuning is is basically in baritone tuning. Well, maybe I can show here on the Future Lute. So the strings from low to high are B, then there's an octave E, normal E, octave A, normal A, octave D, normal D, and then two normal F sharps. I can strum, maybe you can hear. I don't know if that comes through. But if you want to play it on your guitar, first you would tune down to baritone, and then you would place capo like on the 12th fret. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Next question from Kimball Mackey is, I have a kind of a vague question. I know you went to school for music. How technical is the vibe when you're composing? In your explores, it's hard for me to tell if it's a casual wander through the woods or if I'm actually seeing a super technical cave dive. No worries about the metaphors. I mean, it's kind of both. I definitely think of things in terms of, I mean, not so much, how to put this, I will think of things, when it comes to how to harmonize or harmonies, I will think of things in terms of okay, I'm playing the 1, or do I want to go to 6, do I want to go to 4, do I want to play inversion, do I want to play a 7th, do I want to play a triad? This I think is very music school brain, thinking about, harmonic motion, chord harmony in this sort of way. But it really isn't, I am just kind of noodling, just kind of letting my hands, move around the fingerboard, trying to just flow on the instrument through most of the explore sessions. I don't know if that I feel like that's not the best way to answer the question. I'm never not thinking about it in, never not using the music school analysis, that's running in my head. But the energy, the sort of the motion of playing is coming from I don't know, from punk rock. Okay, I want to play something that has some motion, some energy here. I'm not necessarily thinking what the particular sort of thinking about where they're going to go, that's when I start maybe utilizing some of that music school analytical mind. Oh, and can we get a pork chop feature in the Q&A, please? Yes, I will splice in pork chop salutation at the end of the video, so no worries. Thank you for that. And then last question from Nate Morris. Do you wear acrylics or are your nails au naturel? They are au naturel, my friend. So yes, I think I went on probably longer than I intended. Apologies, everybody. But thank you so much for everybody who's tuned in. Again, the record is available now. I'll put links in the description below. Please do check it out. Thank you, everybody, so much for your support and your interest. It means so much. Yeah, and sending everybody many positive vibes. Peace. Okay, friends. As requested, here is the Porkchop cameo. Porkchop, can you say hello to everybody? Can you send everybody many positive vibes? There we go. This is Porkchop. Porkchop, can you wish everybody many positive vibes? Yes. There we go. Please say hi to everybody, Porkchop. We're good? We're good, Porkchop? All right. Thank you, Porkchop, for coming onto the channel. And once again, thank you everybody for tuning in, sending many positive vibes.